All right, good morning to everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us today. The next phase of the Port Covington project, or the Port Covington community, begins today. And its impact will last for generations to come. And I, for one, am ready to get things started. Council President Jack Young, Controller Pratt, members of the General Assembly and the City Council, as well as esteemed members of our community. I am honored to stand here with you to make the next chapter of Baltimore's future official. Joining us today are Tom Geddes, CEO of Plank Industries, Mark Weller, President of Sagamore Development Company, Alicia Wilson, VP of Community Affairs for Sagamore Development. I think, I don't see Mr. Mayor of South Baltimore, Mike Middleton. Is he? There you are. You were blending in. You were blending. Your purple and Alicia's was blending. Reverend Hathaway, Senior Pastor, Union Baptist Church, and several members of our faith community, as well as build representatives, all in here together, as well as members of my team. We have the president of BDC as well. So today, we're not just signing an ordinary bill. We are here for one of the most significant development milestones of Baltimore's modern history. We are setting the stage for a stronger Baltimore, and we're mobilizing our resources to build hope, to build opportunity, and equity for all of our residents. Port Covington will be a catalytic project, creating new jobs, job training opportunities, as well as opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses. It will create affordable housing and prevailing wage guarantees. They say that luck is engineered when you build on strength, and we have been very fortunate to attract strong and compassionate leaders to our city who want to give back and to tell the true Baltimore narrative. CEO Kevin Plank is a true pioneer and a true partner with Baltimore. And the MOU that we have put in place solidifies our mutual commitment to accelerating our local economy, opportunity pipeline, affordable housing market, and growth as a sustainable city. Just look around you. By no stretch of the imagination, Kevin and his team has done great work to move Baltimore forward while giving credence to the greatness that lives here. With more than $100 million in commitments, real commitments, the Sagamore team and Kevin Plank have demonstrated a loyalty to Baltimore and to its people. Finally, the day has arrived, and I say finally. Was that an exhale I heard from you? To begin building the Port Covington Project. For the next 20 years, we will be a part of making an underutilized area of Baltimore into a thriving, inclusive community, as well as an economic center. These benefits will stretch far beyond the peninsula itself, and certainly beyond my term of office. This was an absolute all-hands-on-deck effort to secure passage of these bills. There are so many people who are deserving of acknowledgement, and I want to mention a few. Delegate McIntosh, I want to thank you for your efforts on education, the education funding component. I know that there is still more work to do. Senator Ferguson and Delegate Learman, I want to thank them for their assistance on behalf of their constituents in the SB 6. The members of the Taxation and Finance Committee, thank you for your work on these bills. I want to thank Councilman Costello for being a tireless advocate for his district. And Mr. President, thank you and your staff for your hard work in being a steadfast champion for this project. I also want to recognize two of my staff members, or team members, Bill Cole, the president of the BDC, who recognizes a game changer when he sees it. And I want to thank your team for making sure that the terms of this project and the path moving forward is a clear path to an inclusive Baltimore. I say all the time that I want Baltimore to be a mecca for entrepreneurship, and I continue to be proud of the way that you work with our business community to ensure that these projects reflect that priority. And I also want to thank my Deputy Mayor, Colin Tarbert, and my entire economic development team for their many, many late nights, many bottles of Rolaids. Colin is one of the most amazing people I have on my team. He always likes to stay in the background, but he's always pushing forward. And I think, from the back, you have a very wide reach, and I think you have a lot to be proud of the work that you and your team have done under my administration. And everyone who has been a part of making this a reality, from the Sagamore Development Team to all of the community members and the faith groups who worked so hard to reach common ground. This is truly, truly a great day for Baltimore. I think the council president will agree that our tomorrow starts today, and I'm thrilled to usher in this day with all of you. And with that, I want to introduce and again thank the council president. I have been in your shoes, and I know that good intentions aside, it takes a lot to be a leader of a council where you're trying to balance so many correct interests. Everyone has their job to do in representing what they believe is best for the city and their constituents, and it takes a whole lot to make that, to make sausage, I should say, in the city council. And I want to thank you for being an amazing partner.
Thank you.
Council President Young.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. This was a team effort, working with the administration, working with Councilman Stokes, Chair of the Taxation Committee, and, my team. I have to give kudos to Kara Kuntz. Is Kara here? Kara Kuntz and Lester Davis and Michael and Carolyn. We spent, I know they, if they don't have gray hair, they have it now. Because, dealing with me and trying to make sure that this process was a smooth one was really tough. I know that Chairman Stokes had a job to do. He had to vet the project so that the constituent had an opportunity to voice their likes and dislikes, and we heard that as well. But I believe that this is going to catapult Baltimore well into the next century. The affordable housing unit piece, the jobs, and just the equity in this project with the City of Baltimore, with our profit sharing. And this project is just going to be a great project. I want to thank the Controller's Office. They were able to negotiate to get an auditor that's going to be responsible for monitoring this project. And I have faith that Mr. Plank would do the right thing. He had proven that he's been a philanthropic person in his actions that he have given to our school system, uniforms for our various teams throughout the City of Baltimore, building stadiums for Dunbar High School and I think a couple other schools that he's done. And this guy have given to our police department. He's just been a great philanthropic partner in Baltimore City. Under Armour, make no mistake about it, is number 2 only to Nike. And we as Baltimore are lucky to have Kevin Plank and his Under Armour team right here in Baltimore, where he wants to build his headquarters here and hopefully be number 1 over top of Nike so that we can claim that. But I just want to thank the Sagamore team and everyone that was involved. Senator Ferguson, who helped the mayor of Cherry Hill to put together the SB6 so that they can realize the residuals from that project to strengthen that community. And I just have one concern, I just want to mention it, and we're probably going to need some state help with that we're able to make sure that as development go out through the City of Baltimore and property values start rising, that we're able to protect those folk who have stuck it out in Baltimore City when the going wasn't so good. So to try to cap their property tax at a rate as long as they live in their houses, and it passes off once somebody else buy it. But we want to make sure we protect those homeowners, because as you know, when development go up, property values go up, and those things, and it affected the very people who were here to thick and thin. So, Madam Mayor, thank you again. It was just a great job on behalf of the administration, the council, and everybody involved to get this project moving. Thank you again.
Very good.
Thank you. Before I bring the comptroller up, I would be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge my legislative team led by Deputy Mayor Andy Smullian. They split the role aids, Colin and Andy. So I want to say again, thank you and job well done. And with that, I want to bring the comptroller up for a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I am a proud supporter of this history-making event. I just want to thank Sagamore. I'd like to thank the mayor and the president of City Council because, as stated, these three bills sets the parameters for the Port Covington district. It establishes the TIF bonds, and it also establishes the special taxing district. Also, as said, I am always excited when new jobs are created, there's new affordable housing, and there's economic opportunities. My interest has always been moving Baltimore forward, and I look forward to the progression of this project. Thank you.
Sorry, guys, sorry.
There's going to be a group shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bad throw. It's a bad throw.
Okay, hold up there. Yes, give it a shot. I'm shooting really wide here. Good, got it. Thank you very much, everyone.
They have a statement, his office, and they have a statement.
Somebody can't answer a question.
They said,
Bill Cole is here to answer questions on process or where we go
Okay,
from
that'd
here.
be good.
They have a statement. I'm sure they'll make themselves available. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I think we're
Okay.
gonna get Port Covington stuff out of the way.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Both of us.
that's right.
Where do you stand with the profit sharing right now? You said that, the process had to clear some hurdles before that went into motion. Where is that now and what can we expect?
So we have a profit sharing agreement that is done in principle with Sagamore. As the process, I'm sorry. My apologies. We have a profit sharing agreement that has been negotiated in principle with Sagamore. When the process moves forward, we'll be taking the agreement to the Board of Estimates in the form of contract like we've done with every other TIF and pilot.
About what's the projected timeline on
My assumption is by the end of the year. I don't think there's any obstacles to keep us from moving that forward. A lot of it depends on when they intend on going for the first tranche.
And Medco is gonna underwrite those bonds?
We don't know that yet. Board of Finance continues, the Finance Department continues to talk to Medco. It is likely, but we're not sure of that yet.
Realistically, when does the city start reaping benefits of this project? Months, days, months, years, that sort of
I think months is probably a better answer, because the moment they break ground, and they're already working down there right now, they're creating jobs already. We'll reap the benefits the moment they start the massive construction on the Under Armour campus, which should be soon, and then the rest of the project. The jobs are immediate.
When do you anticipate the construction really beginning in earnest?
Well, I think we're going to see heavy activity down there in the next 6 months, within the next 6 months.
And when do the bonds get signed? This whole process, when does that start?
Can't answer that yet. We'll have our initial meetings with Sagamore and bond counsel in the coming weeks. My guess is in the next 3 to 4 months, we'll begin to prepare to move forward with that, but we don't have a timeline established. A lot of it depends on when they're ready with their construction schedule.
What steps can the administration take to ensure that there's not negative repercussions to school aid?
It's already in the MOU. That was already negotiated as part of the...
But in terms of helping to get the lawmakers on board with changing the formula?
I think we'll all be very active in Annapolis this year, including the developer and our local elected officials, ensuring that this project and any other project, it's not just this project, it's other projects that also affect the school funding formula.
What additional funding does Sagamore need from state feds, and will the city actively help try to acquire that?
Absolutely. We know that they need federal dollars and state dollars in order to make the accessibility of the site happen the way we think it needs to happen in order to make it truly accessible to all of Baltimore. Light rail access to the site is critical, and that's not something the city could ever fund. We know that there's highway ramp and interchange changes that need to be made to make the site more accessible for buses and cars, and those are all things that will require state and federal assistance. So we will work with them and the administration to make certain that they work through those processes, and the city will support in any way possible.
What's that amount?
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, over the life of the project, it's hundreds of millions of dollars, at least on the same level as the amount of the overall TIF.
With this commitment of the TIF, does it change the priority list with the Howard Street Tunnel going for the federal money? Talk a little bit about those two. They're in competition for the federal money.
Well, I mean, there's, when you say in competition, any application for some of these buckets, there are hundreds of applications nationwide for some of these funding sources. The city will have to make decisions along the way in the future. We're certainly not making any judgments right now as to which goes first. Howard Street Tunnel is incredibly important, and one that I know that this administration has supported, and I assume future administrations will also support, because we know how important the Howard Street Tunnel is to our freight traffic. So I think, as these projects come along and as these requests come along, we'll have to have some type of assessment as to how to prioritize them, but now is not the time to do that. We know they're all equally important in terms of creating jobs, so we'll work closely with the developer to make certain that they're not stepping on other applications.
What role will renovating the Hanover Street Bridge have in terms of accessing Port Covington fully?
Well, I think there's already a Tiger grant that the Department of Transportation is working on right now to study the Hanover Street Bridge. Obviously, we all know, anybody who's driven on that bridge knows that it's in disrepair and needs a lot of help. And once DOT has done assessing the various options there, I think we'll have to have a long conversation with our federal partners to figure out how to renovate that bridge to carry the increased capacity.
Wasn't there a study done on that bridge before? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know, Kenny. I know.
I got one. Why wasn't Kevin Plank here today?
I can't answer that.
Anything else on Port Covington? Okay.
Mayor, there was some unflattering comments described by the state prosecutor in the piece by the New York Times Magazine today. Do you dispute Marilyn Mosby's characterization of the conversations that the two of you had after the unrest?
You would have to be more specific.
So she said that she blamed you and Bats for setting false expectations in the community, and then she hung up on you.
So, yeah. So I'll first start by saying, I respect the need to have candid conversations, even in heated times, principal to principal, elected official to elected official. And while it was not my choice to make the nature of that conversation public, now that it is, I'll respond. It's clear that she doesn't have an understanding of the role of the prosecutor as different than the role of the mayor and the administration. You can see what's going on in Charlotte right now. There's a press for transparency. There's a press for information to get out as soon as possible. And that's what I did as mayor. That was my responsibility. The expectation that I set in the community is the expectation that the community had for me, which was that any information that we had, we would work as hard as we could to get that information out as fast as possible. The part of the conversation that she didn't share was that she didn't want me to push. As soon as we had that information, we told her we had the information. And she told us to hold off and don't put it out there. Don't make it public. I couldn't do that. So I know she was probably upset about it. But as soon as we had that information, I wasn't holding it, not even for a day. It's unfortunate that she'd like to characterize the conversation and the nature of her choice to prosecute in that way, but that's not my responsibility. My responsibility was to make sure that we did what we needed to do to have a thorough investigation and give all of our information to the prosecutor. I cannot force her to use her best judgment and then decide how long to investigate or when to bring charges. She did that on her own. The political pressure is real when you are in big jobs. And you can't bow to political pressure and charge when you're not ready. Because you say, I blame, because I'm to blame? No, you gotta stand up, be in the big role and say to the people, if you need time to continue to investigate, I need, the mayor, the police department has given us this information. Now I'm going to do my part and do a thorough investigation. Because she didn't do that, I'm not to blame. I did my job.
Madam Mayor, we pulled some body-worn camera footage recently from the Lord Scuda vigil. Police had said at the time that rocks and bottles were being thrown at them. We looked at the footage we were given. We didn't see any of that. What's the worth of these cameras if they're not able to confirm what police say happened at a certain event?
Yeah. So I said throughout the entire process when it comes to body-worn cameras that they were not the answer to all of our problems. That the cameras, while they are good technology, they will not answer all of the questions that are out there. So with respect to that limited question, how come we can't see the bottles that were being thrown? It has everything to do with the direction that the cameras were on during the time, and there's no guarantee that you're going to catch everything that happens. I think that it puts us in a better position when we have cameras to be able to be more transparent and accountable and get more than we've ever been able to show to the public before. But it's never going to be the answer to all of our questions or all of our problems.
Any reaction to the officers that were honored in
DC?
Yeah, no reaction to that.
None?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you all.